Hello, welcome to a Zatu review. Today we are looking at Extraordinary Adventures Pirates from Forbidden Games, and this is going to be a general overview, not all the rules. And as you can see, this one has a pretty massive board. I'll just flip us out a bit. There we go, into that view. We can see all my mess on my table, but we can see that it has a pretty massive board. Each player is going to have 3 pirate ships of their colours, starting at the top of the 3 tracks. This track is blue, this is red, this is black, and they all end in Trinidad down in this bottom corner where you can see my finger just. As soon as one ship hits Trinidad, the game is over and you will score, and depending on the player count, there's a VP chart up here. The first player on each track will get a certain amount of points, the second player will get less points, and so on and so forth. So that's one of the ways you score points. The other main way to score points is by picking up these treasures, which you can only get from ports and only if you spend the required crates. When you get to a port, you can buy as many treasures as you can afford, and you are using these crates, which I don't know if you can see on the board, but are plastic, not wood, and they are actually detailed to look like crates. As you can see, these are distributed onto the merchant ships on the board, and the other thing to notice is the ports. As you move, you will have choices to go down these spurs, but if you move down one of these spurs, you cannot then move backwards back up it without going to the end and then coming back. Every time you land on a merchant ship that has cargo, you will take that cargo and then you will get a merchant card into your discard pile, and these are generally either, I think I've only seen 2 different types, so let's check. Yeah, they are 2s or 3s. This one has a special power as well, which we'll talk about in a minute, but generally they're okay. They're better than what you start with, but they're not the best. That one shouldn't be in there, that should be in the other deck. This keeps happening to me. I didn't put this away last time, basically. So those are merchants. You can tell they're merchants because they've got the coin on the top. Once a merchant ship has been stolen from, then you can't stop on that spot anymore. As soon as you land on a merchant ship or a port, that is it for that movement of that ship. So how do you move the rest? Oh, let's talk about ports. Ports are where you can get the treasure, and there will be 3 cards out from the port deck. Now these are your powerful cards, and you will just be able to choose one of these to hire. They have a number of different symbols depending on what they do. First up is these ones, which just have something on this side, and it has a number here, 2, which is how far you can move one of your ships, or you can play it for its power, move 4 on the red track. So you get to choose the writing or the number, essentially. This one is a little bit different, doesn't have any movement, but gives you VP. This one can be played to your tableau in front of you, played to the table, and then this gives you an extra power every turn, like a permanent upgrade. So once per turn you can move 2 extra spaces on the black track, or you can play it as a 3 and it will go into discard pile. This one is a discardable out of the game one, so you either use it for its number and put it into your discard pile and keep on using it, or you play it once for its power. Take 1 crate from a player when you land on their ship, and once you use that power, that's gone out of the game. There's some really good cards in here. Move an opponent back 3 and move 1 on the same track. Select one opponent's ship that may not move on the following turn, can be really important. Move 4 on the blue track. Move the lead ship on 1 track back 10. My goodness, it's a one-time power, that one. Draw 2 crates from the bag, and then you can see the biggest number really you get is 4. I might have seen a 5 one time, so you've got that decision to make. So how does this all work? Well, you start with a deck full of lubbers, which are only 1, a couple of able-bodied seamen, which give you 2 movement, and then 1 sailing master's mate, who is a 3, but will also let you discard one card from your hand out of play. So this is a good way of getting rid of lubbers from your deck. You can just get rid of them, but you won't be able to move 3. From this deck, you will shuffle it up at the start, you will draw 5 cards, and then you will play 3 each turn before drawing back up to 5. So as you go, you're going to be moving down, trying to get crates to buy treasures, but also working out when you want to port. As you can see, the cargo is more frequent down there, so you could kind of rush down there to try and get stuff, or you could just go slowly on one and rush the other one. Also included in the game are these pirate meeples, which can be played with a variant where you place them on a port at the start, and if you gain a treasure from that port and your colour meeple is there, you get double the points, whereas if someone else's meeple is there, you can take them prisoner for just 1 point. So that adds a slightly more advanced variant. If you're playing with children who are younger than, say, 7, then the game recommends you take out the cards with the symbols in the top there. I would say maybe just say play with the numbers and not the powers, and you would be fine leaving all those in. That is a very quick high-level overview of Extraordinary Adventures Pirates. So just having a look at the box, we see that everything has its own place. The cards don't quite fit in this space when they are taken out of their cellophane and used a couple of times. The cards tend to get bigger, but the cubes all go in this nice bag. This fits down here. All the treasure tiles fit here. The meeples all fit loose in this bit here, and they're fine being loose because the board will fit snugly on top of that. And you can go up to 6 players, as you can see, like all these ships. You do get 4 ships per player, and they say the 4th one is just to remind people of which colour players are, which is only really needed in bigger player count games. And as you can see, the big old board fits snugly on top of that, not much room left in there. And the rule book is really good, small size in terms of physically, which I like the books being smaller than the boxes, and is really clear, lots of pictures, does a good job. That is Extraordinary Adventures Pirates. So, what did I think of Extraordinary Adventures Pirates? Well, I really like it. The deck building is simple and straightforward, to the point. You are trying to get your ship, or one of your ships, down one of those routes to Trinidad to end the game. The artwork is good and varied in style, covers different genders and different ethnicities, and the whole package is done really well in terms of components and artwork. I've heard a criticism of this game that the deck building is quite slow or slow burn, but I haven't really found that at all. Turns are quick. You're only playing 3 cards, and often at the start of the game it's pretty obvious which ones you want to play. You never want to play a lubber, a 1, if you can avoid it. So your turns are quite quick. Where the choices come in or which paths you move down. Do you try and stay at a good pace on all 3? Do you abandon one? Do you to concentrate on the other 2? Do you absolutely belt it down one and try and force the end of the game? Added to this, the complication of merchant ships and ports, where that's the only place you're really going to get your upgrades from, and you need to get some treasure, because just finishing first on each track probably won't be enough. And there's enough decision there to make it enjoyable. Yeah, I have found that I concentrate too much on traditional deck building mechanics in this game. I try and thin my deck, get rid of those lubbers. But the trouble is, every time I do that, I'm missing out on moving 3 because I'm still using that captain from the initial hand. So I probably need to get a hurry on. My son has done various different strategies to great success, including tonking his way down the board, going to the merchants who have more cargo, raiding those, and then just using that to get a load of treasures at the end. There is a lot of good variety in the extra cards that you're adding in. The merchants tend to be just slightly better than your starting hand, but it's always worth getting one if you raid a merchant ship, because it kind of gives you less chance of getting those lubbers out. There are some really good powers that come out. If you're playing a 2-player game, then luck of the draw is going to be more of an issue, because if those good cards that let you move on every track, for example, come out when your opponent is near the port, then they're always going to just nip in and grab it if it's possible, stopping you from getting those cards. Now that is a risk because they're risking better cards coming out of the port deck, but particularly in one game I found that there's 3 or 4 cards that you move twice on each track, so that's quite a good card. And they just always came up when my opponent was right outside a port. So, of course, he grabbed them all. And that does feel a little bit unfair. It does sting a little bit when you haven't been able to have that opportunity. But that is the exception, not the rule. And certainly as you get to higher player counts, it's not going to be possible for one player to grab all the cards they want to grab. And, you know, I could have made different decisions. I could have gone into port earlier. Sometimes I completely ignore ports and shoot down and try and work out, right, I'll go to this one on this track, get those colours, and I'll be able to get those 2 treasures, then I'll go down here. Yeah, it works really well. I really like that the cards are complicated enough that gamers are interested, and just complicated enough that they give my son something to think about. Is he just going to use the number? He could do that for the rest of the game, or is he going to use those powers? And certainly the powers, he likes the powers you keep in front of you that give you bonus moves on the different tracks. I think Extraordinary Adventures Pirates is an excellent family game and also a great gamer game. A race with deck building mechanics that works really, really well, and does it different to the other deck building race game that I know of, which is Quest for El Dorado. And the theme in this one I really like. I think it works as much as it can do. The plastic pirate ships help. I haven't played the advanced variant with the Meeple pirates. I haven't needed to yet, and obviously lockdown is scuppering a lot of my chances to play lots of games. So, but it's nice to have it there. I don't think for most people that you need to take out any cards just to play the base game. I would leave them all in. They're all fairly simple. Even for kids from like kind of 7 upwards will be fine with them. If you're playing with younger kids, then just tell them to use the numbers on those cards. No point making yourself have extra setup, I don't think. So yeah, this is an excellent game. I recommend it. It would suit a lot of groups. If you don't like deck building, if you don't like pirates, then obviously not the game for you. But otherwise, I think it's a great and a wise purchase. Thanks very much for watching, Zatu. Please do like and subscribe our videos. Head over to our Facebook to see all our live content, and we will see you again soon.